In Formula One, you and I both know that the smallest tweaks can completely change the story of a race weekend. A little adjustment in setup, a fresh approach to strategy, even a subtle shift in mindset. These can be the difference between celebrating on the podium or heading back to the garage wondering what went wrong. And right now, one of the sport's most legendary drivers is making sure his voice is heard inside Ferrari. Rumors started swirling in the paddock about Lewis Hamilton taking a bigger role in shaping the team's direction, and at first, the headlines made it sound like he was issuing orders. But as always in F1, the truth is a little more nuanced. What's fascinating here is the way the story built up. After a string of weekends that didn't quite meet expectations, especially given Ferrari's high hopes when Hamilton signed on, whispers began that he wasn't content to just drive the car and keep quiet. Instead, sources say Hamilton has been actively engaging with the team, sharing thoughts on where things could improve and how to unlock more potential from the car. Now, in a sport where even a single tenth of a second matters, that kind of driver involvement can be massive or controversial, depending on how you see it. I'm curious what you think. Should a driver step in with their own ideas and push the team toward changes, or is it better to leave those decisions to the engineers and strategists? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those debates where fans are split right down the middle. By the way, if you're into these behind-the-scenes stories and want to keep up with every twist in the F1 world, make sure you subscribe to Fast News F1 and enable the notification bell. Your subscription is really important to us, and it helps us get closer to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. And this is just the beginning of the story, because what Hamilton did next wasn't just about talking in meetings. It involved a bold move that reached all the way to Maranello's top brass, and it turned whispers into headlines. The Hungarian Grand Prix might not have looked like a breaking point from the outside, but for Hamilton, it became a weekend that demanded action. Qualifying was flat, nowhere near the performance Ferrari fans had been hoping for, and once the lights went out on race day, things didn't exactly turn around. The pace wasn't terrible, but it wasn't electric either, and every lap seemed to underline the same problem. Ferrari had speed in certain moments, but they weren't turning it into results that mattered. For a driver like Hamilton, who's built a career on precision, adaptability, and extracting every ounce of performance, weekends like that don't just get brushed aside. They stick, and they force you to start asking questions. Are we getting the most out of the car? Is the strategy aggressive enough? Are we reacting fast enough to what's happening on track? At this point in the season, Ferrari was still sitting second in the constructors' standings, but Mercedes was just 36 points behind. That's nothing in F1 terms, especially with multiple races still ahead. It's a position that could flip with a single disastrous weekend or a streak of mediocre ones. And for Hamilton, letting the gap close wasn't an option. You have to wonder, though, was the Hungarian GP just a bad weekend? Or was it a symptom of something deeper? I'd love to hear your take. Do you think Ferrari's issues right now are more about execution on race weekends? Or do they go back to the way the car is being developed? Let me know in the comments, because it's a conversation a lot of fans are having quietly, but it deserves to be out in the open. And if you're enjoying getting these kinds of insights beyond the press conferences, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Your support keeps Fast News F1 growing and helps us get closer to our 1,000 subscriber milestone. Because after Hungary, Hamilton decided he wasn't going to wait for things to improve on their own. What he did next was unexpected, calculated, and sent a message straight to Ferrari's leadership, a move that would get everyone talking. After leaving Hungary behind, Hamilton didn't just head home and hope the team would sort itself out. Instead, he made a move that you almost never hear about in modern F1, and it wasn't just a phone call or a quick chat in the garage. He sat down, gathered his thoughts, and wrote out a detailed report about Ferrari's current challenges, possible solutions, and areas where he believed untapped performance was still hiding. This wasn't some emotional outburst. It was deliberate, structured, and aimed at getting the right people's attention. Once it was finished, the document was sent directly to Maranello, the very heart of Ferrari, for review by the top decision makers. Think about that for a second. It's one thing to share feedback with your race engineer after the session. It's another to put together a full dossier and hand it to the people shaping the team's future. For Hamilton, this wasn't about stepping on toes or playing team boss. It was about collaboration. He's been around long enough to know that the fastest way to lose ground in F1 is to stand still. And with Mercedes closing in, standing still was not an option. Now, you have to ask yourself, do you like seeing a driver take such a hands-on approach, or do you think it risks overstepping? Because there's no denying it takes a certain level of confidence to tell Ferrari's leadership, here's how I think we can be better. I'd love to see your vote in the comments. A simple yes or no will do. Should more drivers take this kind of initiative? If you haven't already, subscribe to Fast News F1 and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happened next. Because this wasn't just about a letter. The way Hamilton explained it later would change how fans and the media saw the whole situation. And it proved that, for him, this was about more than frustration. It was about finding a way forward before the season slipped away. When the media got wind of Hamilton's document to Maranello, the rumor mill went into overdrive. Headlines hinted at orders being sent to Ferrari from their star driver, painting a picture of a man taking control in a way that could ruffle feathers. But when Hamilton finally spoke about it in an interview with Motorsport Week, the reality was very different. I haven't given orders to the team, he said clearly, shutting down the idea that he'd gone rogue. Instead, he described it as sharing ideas, asking questions like, what if we try this? Or have you approached it that way before? He emphasized that his goal was to spark discussion, not dictate. This wasn't about undermining the engineers or the leadership. It was about opening doors to possibilities that might otherwise be overlooked. Team principal Fred Vassar has always been open to hearing from his drivers, and Hamilton made sure to highlight that. This wasn't a power struggle. It was a conversation, one built on mutual respect, even if it came during a period of frustration. That distinction matters because in a sport as intense as Formula One, the line between leadership and overstepping can be razor thin. And here's something to think about. When a driver of Hamilton's experience takes the time to put thoughts on paper, is that a sign of healthy collaboration, or is it a red flag that something's not working behind the scenes? What's your take? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious how you see it. By the way, if you want to keep following this story and see whether Hamilton's approach pays off, make sure you're subscribed to Fast News F1 and that notification bell is on. Your support gets us closer to 1,000 subscribers and ensures you never miss these moments that reveal the human side of Formula One. Because as clear as Hamilton tried to make things in that interview, there's still one big question hanging over all of this. Will Ferrari actually listen? And if they do, will it be enough to change the direction of this season? That's where the real suspense begins. Now comes the part every Ferrari and Hamilton fan is waiting for. Will Maranello actually take his suggestions on board? Inside the team, decisions like this aren't made overnight. They involve weighing data, considering development budgets, and looking at the long-term impact on the car's concept. But with Mercedes breathing down their necks in the standings, time isn't exactly a luxury. If Ferrari does act on Hamilton's proposals, it could inject fresh energy into their campaign. Maybe it's a tweak to the car's balance, a different approach to tire management, or a bold new strategic mindset during races. Small changes could mean big gains, especially in the kind of tight championship fight we're seeing this season. But if they choose to stick with the current plan and ignore his input, the risk is obvious. They might finish the year watching Mercedes overtake them when it matters most. This is the fascinating part of Formula One, the blend of technical precision, split-second decision-making, and human dynamics. A driver's relationship with the team can be the difference between a season that's remembered for progress or one remembered for missed opportunities. Hamilton is betting that by speaking up now, he can help steer Ferrari toward the former dot. So here's my question for you. Do you believe Ferrari will actually make changes based on Hamilton's input? Or will they keep following their own path regardless? Let me know in the comments, and let's see where most fans stand on this. And if you've enjoyed following this story with me, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Your subscription is a huge part of how we keep bringing you these Inside Paddock updates, and it helps Fast News F1 push toward our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Because whatever Ferrari decides, this is a storyline that isn't going away. In the races ahead, we'll see if Hamilton's leadership sparks a late-season turnaround, or if it becomes another chapter in the long, complex history of Ferrari's near misses. One thing's for sure, the next time the lights go out, this story will still be in the background, shaping every lap.